business news, Jakarta's benchmark index, the JCI, taking a look now, relatively flat. However, the spotlight today is on the market debut of Bukalapak, Indonesia's fourth largest e-commerce platform, which kicked off today. It jumped nearly 25% at the open and now holding on to those gains. The 11-year-old company went on its maiden trade after raising $1.5 billion in the country's largest ever public listing. It's also the first tech unicorn to list on the Indonesia Stock Exchange, driving investors, both institutional and retail, into a frenzy. Bukalapak offered 25.7 billion shares, or 25% of the post-IPO company. It raised $1.5 billion in its initial listing after pricing it at the top of the indicated price range in late July. Sources say order books for the IPO were multiple times oversubscribed, receiving more than $6 billion worth of demand. Among its backers are Ant Group, Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund, GIC, and local media and tech conglomerate MTech. Its market debut is a landmark in the development of the booming tech sector in Southeast Asia. It's closely watched as a gauge for other unicorns such as Gojek, Tokopedia, and Traveloka that may soon go public. And here to help us shed more light into Southeast Asia's latest multi-billion-dollar listing, we're joined by Gema, CEO of Astronacci International, speaking from Jakarta. Thank you very much for joining us. A lot of hype surrounding Bukalapak's IPO. Not only is it Southeast Asia's largest, it's also put Indonesia on the map for e-commerce. What's your reaction from the debut so far this morning?
Okay, during the pandemic, the behavior of Indonesian citizens is slightly changed. Mid to high-level income, they tend to more active in online transactions, especially in e-commerce, despite the pandemic hurts most business sector in Indonesia. Also, the stock market is also built on the hype, and people buy the story, not the financial performance. Therefore, the tech stock, including e-commerce, will get a high benefit regardless their financial performance. For example, people think that Bukalapak is always losing money in the past 3 years. Some value investor, they don't want to bid Buka on the pre-IPO, but I have a different perspective. With this gigantic size of IPO, it is less likely that Buka will show its bad performance during the first week of IPO. However, I made my historical study on Mandiri Sekuritas and UBS as the underwriter during 2010 to 2021. We found that only 18.9% upside on the 3 days after the IPO and 27% 3 months after the IPO. Other than that, the stocks that lead by them, they already sideways or moved downward. So this will be considered as risk. The good point is, according to Astronacci methodology using the planetary alignment during the IPO, we found that Bukalapak is doing IPO when 4 big planets are moving in retrograde motion. And historically, in the past 9 IPOs, 2020 to 2021, okay, the upside movement is 77% of the time. So based on this statistic, I decided to buy Buka. So then I booked for $100,000 Singapore dollar, but I only get $100 during the book building. At the end of retail clients, finally I found that they got 24% fulfillment in the pooling session. As per today, Bukalapak hit the daily maximum 24% upside limit. So this proves that the hype is controlling the market. Is no value investing anymore.
Right. Well, scrambling to get their hands on the fast-growing tech sector, similar to you, the likes of Bukalapak are not yet cash flow positive. As you mentioned, a lot of people are not necessarily looking at the financials, but what does the road to profitability look like?
Yeah, I think after they got this kind of gigantic amount of money, I think they can develop more business strategy, business plan, because the Bukalapak had to have main competitor is Tokopedia in Indonesia, and a lot of people use that platform instead of Bukalapak. So hopefully by gaining more money, raising fund, they can improve their technology and gain public trust to use their e-commerce platform for daily use of transaction.
And in a market that's seen a number of massive flotations recently, how is Bukalapak setting the tone for IPO hopefuls in the region?
Yeah, if you're looking for the Buka performance and people don't really agree, or they don't really put their appetite on this Bukalapak, so I think their Bukalapak is very confident to jump in, and by looking to the stock price, I think that's conclude everything, discount every information that we got. In the next week, I think another 20% that could be very possible for the price, and then people will change their mind, and now they will look to another unicorn in the e-commerce or tech gigantic IPO to jump in or even to buy. So we have like Goto next, or maybe Traveloka that will IPO in Indonesia, but we are not sure yet how good they are later.
And what about your thoughts quickly before we go on other upcoming listings like Gojek, Tokopedia's Goto, as well as Traveloka? How are they likely to perform?
Yeah, people will desperately wait for the Goto because they already see now. I got the Bukalapak at 850 and now the price is 1060. So with that kind of financial performance, the stocks can rose about 24% by this morning. I guess people will desperately want to buy the Gojek and Gojek and Tokopedia and also maybe Traveloka. They will hardly beat these stocks. So you may want to join us.
Well, thank you very much for that analysis. That was Gema Giardi, CEO of Astronacci International.